I just hit it. Yep.
There we go. All right. All right. All right.
Right. All right.
Are we live right now?
You got the countdown?
I don't see the countdown.
What the countdown?
Man, I don't know. I put it on here, but I don't see it. What happened to it?
Oh, there it is right there. Let's do it.
Damn. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's going on?
This is the first one.
First one, man.
Yeah.
I'm excited about the show, man. Real talk in real estate.
Real talk in real estate.
This has been a long time coming, man. We've been talking about this thing for a few months now.
Yeah.
Putting it all together, and super excited about the guests we got on today. I mean,
I'm excited about it, man. We've been talking. I remember when we first talked about this doing the show,
Yep.
and we were trying to figure out who we was going to have as our first guest, man. And both of us said at the exact same time.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. I mean,
yeah.
What can I say, man? So just to give the audience and those who are listening some background, a little bit of performance on Josh Rogers' team. Well, not Josh Rogers' team anymore. He's called the F3 team now.
The
Formerly
F3
Josh
team.
Rogers' team. So the guy his team has closed over 250 transactions in 2022. They've done over $140 million in sales volume. He's produced over 1,500 pieces of content in quarter 3 and quarter 4 of 2022. And he's recognized by Real Trends as the top 3 teams here in Northeast Florida. Hey, let's give it up to our guy, my brother, Mr. Josh Rogers.
There he is.
All right. Man, it's good to be here. It's not usually I'm not the worst looking guy on screen, but in this case, I am the worst looking guy compared to you two studs.
Wow, man! But your pockets is fat. How about that? Welcome to the show, man.
Yeah, man. So super excited about this show, man. We got a lot to talk about, man.
Yeah.
I'm thrilled to be on, guys. I'm honored to be on the first of your show of many. I mean, this is I'm incredibly grateful, and I can learn just as much from the two of you as I'm going to be able to share today. So my goal is to give you real talk. You know, that's something that kind of rubbed me the wrong way early on in the business, as I felt like people just weren't lifting up the hood and showing me the whole story. And come to find out they weren't. And so I'm excited to roll up our sleeves and get into the details on our time together today, guys. So thank you.
That's good.
Absolutely.
I remember we first, like I said earlier, man, and I don't know if you knew this or not, but I remember when Maurice and I first decided we was going to put this show together, we were just, coming up with names of people and who should we have on the show. And then we came to the point where we said, well, who should be that first guest? Like, who is the guy that we both look up to that has just done some amazing things in this industry that we know will be able to bring the nuggets and the truth to exactly what we're trying to accomplish? And both of us say at the exact same time, Josh Rogers.
I love it.
That's
good
stuff,
good, man. That puts a smile on my face.
Yeah.
Chris, when you and I were door knocking, one of my first deals ever in general real estate was with the one and only Chris Allen. Dude, I'll never forget, man. I mean, that puts a smile on my face.
Absolutely.
I showed up, with probably some cargo shorts and flip flops, and my man shows up in a 3-piece suit.
I'm suited and booted. Who had no idea what was going on? Suited and booted.
And
so listen, man, that was so long ago. But you have done some amazing things since that time frame. I'm ready to get into it, man. You and I talk offline a lot. I know you and Maurice talk often offline. I know your story. Just give us, who is Josh Rogers, man? Give us the good, the bad, the ugly. Who is Josh?
Absolutely, man. Talk to us about the Lower Alabama to the Jacksonville real estate agent.
If the Pensacola people know you call him Lower Alabama, man, I like to call it the Redneck Riviera. Pensacola is where I grew up. And if you guys really want to know where my roots come from, I'll show you. Hold on 1 second. Gentlemen, not very many people have seen this or know where my true roots are from. Did you guys play with this back in high school?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
High school and college, my dad got me one of these, and my buddies and I just had the time of our lives shooting videos. So I would pull up in my van and I'd shoot just fun, goofy videos. And now that has actually transitioned into now having over 2,000 videos on YouTube. It all started back with this.
Jeez. Wow.
Wow.
And that'll kind of transition into my story. But
Yes.
long story short, my high school sweetheart moved over to Jacksonville. We grew up in Pensacola. I followed her. I went to University of North Florida, flunked out of the school. They kicked me out of the school because they said my GPA was bringing down the college's GPA. So the dean called me into the office and he said, "You just can't come here anymore." And I said, "What are you talking about? Like, I'm paying you money. You don't want my money?" And he said, "Nope, you're bringing down the GPA." So I'm official college flunk out. I didn't drop out. They kicked me out.
Wow.
And I still kind of wear that as a badge of honor today.
Wow.
While I was in school, everybody said we needed to get an internship, right? We heard that's a good thing. And so one of the local builders named Pulte Homes hired me as an intern. And I was an intern with them for 2 years. And I saw these people slinging houses in new construction in those model homes. And I was serving them coffee. I saw all the money they were making and what was possible. And so I just earned my stripes, literally started from the bottom. And a lot of those people are still in the business, and we still joke because I would go get them coffee.
Right.
And you know what?
Wow.
That's where I planted my flag. We all have opportunities in life. Yeah. And sometimes we choose the B level or C level opportunities when the A level opportunity is just staring us in the face. And I saw there's no cap on my income. Yeah. I can develop my skills. I can work really hard and get rewarded for it. So right out of the chute, I've never been on a salaried position. Ever since college, I started in 100% sales commission, and then I've just stayed the course. So real estate is where I started my internship with new construction in college. Okay. And now, gosh, 20 years later, I'm still in the same gig.
I remember those Pulte days. I think I was selling it at another builder at the time, and you were over at Pulte and doing some amazing things. And so, so
that career, when I graduated, I went into on-site sales with a national builder. I took 7 years in that business, and it was a fantastic business, a fantastic lane of real estate. But there are sacrifices, with any lane that you choose. Sure. And the sacrifice with that is you have very limited control or individuality. You do have a boss that has their thumb on you, and they're asking you, how many appointments do you have? What have you sold last week? You're only as good as your last week of sales in that business. And you're also giving up every Saturday and Sunday because that's when model homes are open. So as my wife, my high school sweetheart, and I got married, and as we started having a family, those weekends became more and more valuable to me. And that's when I realized this is not sustainable for the lifestyle that I want. And at some point, I'm going to have to make the decision to jump off the boat and start swimming myself in general real estate. Because I wanted more control of my time. I wanted more control of who I spent my time with and where I spent that time. And that natural transition was jumping into general real estate and building something of my own.
That's good.
Gotcha.
How were you able to make that transition? Because that's not an easy transition to make. Coming from that builder lifestyle, because I did it for so many years, where you knew where you had to be at a particular time. You knew what the hours would be. You kind of could calculate how much money you're going to make. How were you able to transition from that into that general space and do it at such a high level?
It was incredibly hard. And there's a lot of wisdom behind your words because you're asking all the right questions because you've taken that path. It's the equivalent of being on a cruise ship. Have you guys ever taken a cruise?
Yeah.
Where you don't have a care in the world, right?
Right.
I mean, the only problem you have is which of the 10 buffets am I going to go have dinner from?
Facts.
So it's that, and literally jumping off the side of the cruise ship in this big blue ocean. And at the time, it's a big, cold, stormy, dark, sharky ocean.
Right.
And I thought, man, I was all the stuff. And I thought, man, people know me, people like me. I'm going to kill this thing. Because all I saw was real estate agents coming into the model homes, getting these big fat commission checks.
Yeah.
And I thought it was just like shooting fish in a barrel, but I was grossly mistaken. And Chris, you said do it at such a high level. Bro, I went broke, man. My first year was it was dirty. It was nasty. It was hard. It was scary. It was dreadful. I think dread is such a strong word.
Right.
That's where it takes me.
Wow.
Why are you laughing?
Wow, that's good. That's good. Dreadful.
Wow. So in that at that time period, what was it that said, it was dreadful, it was scary? What was it that got you over the hump to get you past that moment? What was it?
Such a good question, man. It was one conversation, and I love this because all of us have these moments in our life that we look back and we say, it was in that instant, it was that person, it was that relationship. And it was a conversation, and kind of peel back the onion even more.
Please.
Chris, I don't know that you've heard the extent of this story, but man, out of just being a grown, immature 35-year-old boy who never became a man, I made a lot of foolish and irresponsible decisions. And I was living this fake life on social media, with this mask of smiles and everybody thinking that I'm the all-American guy. When in fact, man, I was just incredibly foolish with my money, up to my eyeballs in debt and consumer debt, and just living in the moment and making a lot of poor decisions. So at that point, I was $138,000 in consumer debt. Wow. 9 credit cards. I keep them as a souvenir. Right here. And I didn't cut them up because I wanted to keep them for my story. But we got the Chase card, we got the Visa card, the Citi card, Disney Chase card. And then there's a Kohl's card hidden in here. Some Kohl's card maxed out. And I remember that it was like I had exhausted all avenues. I cashed in what little 401k I had. I was 4 years back taxes, had 2 car loans, student loans. So when you total it all up, $138,000 of consumer debt. And that was on my shoulders as I made this genius move to jump into the ocean by myself. And fellas, I don't know if you've ever been in financial distress, but it's suffocating. I couldn't think. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. It was an all-consuming burden that just paralyzes you. And I just had to have a come to it. I didn't find Jesus in that moment. I wish I would have, but I had to come to Jesus moment with myself of saying, it's time to be an adult and be a man.
Wow.
And I made a couple decisions. And it was like, okay, tomorrow I'm no longer going to play real estate agent. I'm going to actually wake up and work. I'm not going to act like anyone owes me anything. I'm not going to ride my charisma of everybody knowing Josh Rogers. I'm not going to make cutesy little posts. I'm going to wake up and I'm going to go to work. So that was 300 phone calls a day, 4 open houses every weekend, and just keeping my head down and not looking up until I was in the clear. Now that took many months. Wow. Now, Maurice, you asked me, and it all came to a head January 2015. This is so important, you guys. Because I drew the line in the sand and I said, I need a cash infusion as much as I need oxygen, because I've exhausted any backup plans. I got nothing left. One morning, I heard a truck out in the front of my house, and it went through my mind like this streak of panic and fear. Have you guys ever experienced stress where you can feel it in your DNA?
Yeah.
Sometimes maybe it's a phone call
Mhm.
and you like your gut tightens up. I felt that. It's because I thought the repo man was picking up my car in the driveway.
Wow.
There was another identity realization. I was on a flight home one day on the airplane by myself, and they were going through some turbulence, probably the most turbulence that I've experienced. And I experienced that panic again. And it wasn't about being afraid of dying. You guys want to know what this panic revolved around? If I go down in flames, I'm going to be exposed. And my wife and my parents and my in-laws and everybody will know what a financial disaster that I've dug for myself, and it's all going to come to light.
Woo.
Wow.
Woo.
I've never shared that with anyone.
Wow.
And so all of these things came to a head, and ultimately it said, Josh, it's time to be a man. Like, let's just get to work, man. And January 2015, I drew a line in the sand. I said, I must get 6 contracts this month, or else I'm going to go get a job. Like, I don't care where I get a job, but I need to go start making some paychecks because I can't ask anybody else for more money.
Yeah.
And that's when I woke up 8 o'clock every morning, on the phones at 8 o'clock every morning, making 300 dials with the triple line dialer, double open houses, doing anything and everything. Like, I didn't care. It was just time to take massive action. And gentlemen, that's when I went to war.
Who was the person that you spoke to? Like, while you were going through this very critical time and season in your life, who was the person that you spoke to that gave you encouraging? Because I know that right now you're an encourager to so many countless people who are looking to you and say, hey, I'm at my wit's end. What I got to do? Yeah. At that particular time and season in your life, who was that person? You don't have to say their name, but give us.
I'll say it. Maurice knows who it is. Matt Plummer, the one and only Matt Plummer. He and I we're just acquaintances at that point. But I had posted something on social media that I was going to start Dave Ramsey. And Matt dropped in my inbox and he's like, hey, bro, would you like me to walk alongside of you through this? And at that point, fellas, I still had the mask on. I'm like, hey, bro, like, I'm good. Like, why would I need you to walk alongside of me?
Wow.
Yeah.
And he kind of he subtly and through his wisdom, he's like, hey, man, like, we don't know each other. You don't have to put on anything. He said, I walked out of financial devastation and it's a long journey. Dave Ramsey's amazing. I'd be happy to do the same with you. And he was with me. Like, he was my ride or die for 4 years through the storm. And he kept me focused on the end goal. He was kind of that level word of reasoning and advice and sound wise counsel to take all the emotion when I was getting 6 creditor calls a day, wearing me out. Like, dude, my phone became my demon because it was all these creditors reminding me of what a loser I am. And Matt said, every time you get a call, you call me. And he would pick me up and he was reprogramming my identity of who I was and where I was going. And it was just such a beautiful, beautiful thing for Matt to do. And now he and I are best buds.
Wow.
That other conversation that Maurice I'm getting to is, how did I stick through going out on my own in general real estate? Because you guys, it's incredibly hard.
Yeah.
Like, Maurice, Chris, everybody that's listening and watching this, like, there's a lot of people that make it look easy, but if we lift up the curtains and we're honest with ourselves, it's incredibly hard. So anybody that does make it out of their first year, mad respect.
Wow.
It's still hard.
Yes.
So that conversation, Chris, her, man, guys, we run in such a tight network. Lori Michkowski, our broker at the time.
Yeah.
I went to Lori and I said, hey, this is way harder than I thought. I'm eating like tons of humble pie and and I don't know if it's worth it. I could go back on site, work for a builder and make 250 grand in my sleep. Like, all the pain would go away.
Yeah.
And I said, why am I spinning my wheels here? Like, this is suffering. And she said, well, Josh, you can do that. You absolutely can. And maybe you should. She said, but Josh, just remember, you're going to have to face hard one way or another. There's no shortcutting. There's no getting around hard for things
Wow.
that are worth it.
Mhm.
So either you can go back and work for the builders and make your fast cash, but guess what's going to be hard? Every single weekend when your family is spending time and you're at work. And that hard lasts forever. It never
Wow.
goes away.
Wow.
Or you could stick out the hard right now in general real estate, and it will be, and it's going to get harder. But you put in that work for 2 to 3 years, and then that hard goes away, and it opens up all of these possibilities and opportunities of your wildest dreams. You're just going to have to choose which one is worth it for you. And dude, that was the defining moment.
Good. And
It
so many
got me
people
so
choose
fired
the
up.
rabbit. Mm-hmm. That's good.
Wow. That's
That's good.
wow. Wow.
Good.
So that's an incredible story, man.
So I know that there's so many things that you've learned in your career. Let me ask you this. If you had to start all over,
Mm-hmm.
if you had to start all over, day one, what would you do differently?
I would have hired a coach. That's an
Day
easy
one.
one. That's an easy
Wow.
one. Because birds of a feather flock together, and we become like the three of us hanging out. Guys, the three of us are not stopping. If
Yeah.
the three of us stick together, we're going to win. Name the sport, the three of us will win.
Yeah.
Name the time, name the place, the three of us will win because we're winners. Champions stick together, champions run together. And what we gravitate to is gravitate to that place of comfort and mediocrity, and we surround ourselves with that, and then it's just a lifelong struggle. So I was in a group coaching program, and that made all the difference. I would have found, a one-on-one coach that was living the life that I wanted to live, not the life everyone tells me I should live, and then just did what they said rather than trying to figure it all out on my own.
Gotcha. So now, so you've been in the business in general real estate for about, you said it's about 7 years now, 8 years.
Yeah.
So what do you feel, or from your experience, what do you think is the biggest challenge that most newer or even seasoned agents are struggling with?
What do you think?
Whether it be regardless of the market, what are they really struggling with as a business?
Work. Just the 4-letter word, man, and just rolling up their sleeves and doing work. Everybody wants to talk about it. Everybody wants to look for the next shiny object. The cool, fun, exciting, sexy secret.
Yeah.
Here it is, man. It's called work. And Maurice, nobody does it better than you.
Yeah.
Like when we started running, you're like, man, just tell me what to do.
Absolutely.
And we had a couple masterminds, and then you just rolled up your sleeves, and I was talking to Austin, I'm like, dude, where'd Maurice go? And you just had your head down, putting in the work.
Yeah.
So I don't want to make that sound so simple and trivial, and some people will probably just blow me off of that's just a canned answer. But man, we've just gotten so comfortable, as just a society, that we try to stay away from things that make us feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But man, you guys know this, on the other side of that discomfort, man, that's where the treasure is. That's the good stuff.
How do you, speaking of that, how were you able to navigate around staying laser focused and dismissing all of the what you call shiny objects? Because they're out there. We all get flooded with the latest and the greatest,
the
phone
email.
call. Yeah,
It's like every day.
It's
Somebody
every day.
trying to sell me something.
Absolutely, you get bombarded. So how were you able to stay so laser focused, and what are some of the things that you've actually put in place to keep you on the task?
Surrounding myself with the right people that keep me on task and then call me out. And so those are coaches along the way, Chris. I've spent a fortune on coaches, and you know what? I would spend twice as much because they're worth it. Coaches are the shortcut. Coaches are the secret. Coaches are the hack. So what have I done? So Kelly is my operations manager. You guys know her. She's amazing. She runs her whole business.
Yep.
Surrounded myself with the winners. And when we have ideas, and we have all the ideas, we just have a term. So let's put that on a shelf, and next quarter we'll come back and revisit it. And so we have quarterly initiatives. We call them rocks. And it's like this quarter, this rock will be achieved. And if we don't achieve this, then we're miserable failures. Like something has gone horribly wrong.
Wow.
And nothing else gets put in front of that rock. And if we do have great ideas, we put it on the shelf and we will revisit it. And maybe it makes the cut for next quarter. And that came from the book 12-week year. Okay. So you live each quarter as if it's its own year.
Yep.
And when you start reprogramming your business around, hey, because we all set yearly goals, right? But a year is too long. Like, who's going to last 12 months focused on that one thing? But if you say, wait a second, no, I have 4 years that I'm living, you can really make massive gains. So, Chris, it was touching the hot stove and getting burned and saying, wow, the shiny objects just burn me. It costs money. It costs time. It costs energy. And I look up and I have nothing to show for it, because when I get bored with it, then I just jump to the next. Jump to the next. You just don't give it time. Like gardeners and fishermen give things time.
Yes.
Success, true wealth takes time. Like a good Thanksgiving dinner takes time.
Yes.
It takes work. And you know what? It's so worth it. So Chris, it's fighting, man, this daily temptation of I want it now, I want it now, I want it now. And saying, no, let's just take an inventory of people that are jumping to the next shiny object or next thing. Let's see where they are, and then see where time-tested, proven, wealthy, successful people, like, what does their career look like? Dude, their career looks really boring. It looks really mundane. It looks really consistent. But the results look so exciting.
Sure.
So that's what I want.
Sure.
Wow.
You know, you and I were talking the other day, and you were breaking down, you know, how you want to structure your business. Do you mind going into that? There was some.
Dude, this is real talk.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That's the name of the show, baby.
For me, that was just a powerful thing when you shared that with me. Can you go into that? How you structured your business?
Help me understand a little bit more which direction you want me to go. When
you were talking about your family, you were talking about do you remember that conversation?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't want to steal your thunder, so.
Well, so where I am right now, and I had a good conversation with another champion yesterday, and he's like, well, what about you, man? What's next? Like, what are your goals this year? I said, man, I'm there. Like, I've crossed the finish line. I don't need to keep pushing. I don't want to keep pushing. I set my race. I identified my race, the distance, and where I wanted to arrive and how I wanted to arrive. And I'm there. I don't want to turn my 10K into a marathon. Wow. And so what there means for me is I'm 42 years old. I have 6 kids. I have the love of my life, a high school sweetheart. We homeschool our kids. And so of this season of my life, enough is enough. I don't need to make all the money. Well, what am I going to do with all the money?
And you got a whole bunch of it right now.
I have enough and some. And I'm not rich like you guys. Right. I'm not making millions of dollars. But I'm making enough. And for me, Chris, this is where we said, like, I had to protect myself from the beast, because there is a beast in me that not only just wants to win, but I want to punish everybody. Like, I love everyone else knowing they're losing more than I know that I'm winning. Like, that's how big of a beast that's in here. And so that's why I kind of keep to myself. I stay in my bubble. I don't follow a lot of other people, because that competitiveness in me, that pride and ego of being number one just to be number one, it would sabotage my true goal of loving my wife, discipling my kids, pouring into them, because this is such a tiny little window that is open right now. And like that, I know it will be closed. And then I can go let everybody else know that they're losing to me, but not this time in my life.
Wow. And I remember you were saying, because you have such a small window. And that, to me, that was so powerful, because so many people think that we have a whole bunch of time. But for you, you have just brought that thing down to its basic and said, I have so much little time with them that I want to make each moment count. And that's a powerful thing, because sometimes we have that thing backwards, especially as men. We want to go out here, we want to provide for our family, we want to be the best out there, and we miss the thing that's most important is raising those kids. And for me, that was powerful. And
man, we hear it every day. We say, what's your why? And people say, well, my why is my family. And then in turn, Chris, what do they go sacrifice to do more business?
Yeah.
They sacrifice their family.
Yeah.
It's like a vicious cycle.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So let me ask you this then, Josh. So you seem like you've got to the point, you've already said you've got to the point where you finished the race and you're where you want to be. What advice would you give to others who are on this constant cycle of, continue trying to run, continue trying to do better, and continue trying to push that line further down to get to where they are crushing their other agents? Like, they don't have that real work-life balance, so they're really neglecting their family. What advice would you give to those agents that are out there just full speed ahead? They don't have that sense of, okay, I got to take care of them as well too. That's a very important piece of it.
It is. Thank you. This is such a good question. And I hope people that are listening to this really consider this. Manage your money well, because a lot of us have to continue to run the race because we're living lives that we can't afford. I'm public enemy number one. I touch the stove. It's not worth it.
Mm-hmm.
And so regardless of the economy and regardless of how many deals we do, my family are going to be just fine, because I drive a 2005 beat up red. It's not even red. It's maroon.
It's like maroon.
Or
maroon.
And you know what that car does for me? And Chris and I talked about this too, man. It tames the beast, because there's nothing I would love than a big jacked up, F-250 4-wheel drive, but it keeps me in check. And so, I'm carry zero debt, live a reasonable, content life. And what all that means to me is it translates into freedom with my family, which is my why. It's the whole goal here.
Yeah.
Versus we're grinding and running, and then we make one or two foolish financial decisions that wraps us around the axle for another 10 years.
Yeah.
And you're like, man, was it worth it? Because you just sacrificed so much time and peace of mind for whatever you just spent money on.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So Maurice, I would say get really sharpen that axe around financial education, knowledge, and discipline. Because you could make 35 grand a year and still live an incredible life of freedom. We all have choices. And when somebody says that we could go buy a house on the river, dude, you know what that means to me? That would steal my freedom. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
So the other thing, Maurice, is find what your strength is. As new agents or established agents, there's strengths that you have, natural strengths. This was one of mine that came from high school. So I said, hey, I could go door knock, which Chris and I did together at high noon in the middle of August in Florida. I could do cold calls, which I have. We could do open houses, but like, what's Maurice's natural talent and strength that brings him energy? What is Chris's? What is mine? It's all different. Every person has their 2 or 3 superpowers that just come naturally. Find out what those are and go all in on those, and don't stray. Like, it's like, okay, video is going to be my thing. So for the past 7 years, I've been consistently doing video when I didn't want to, when I didn't think it would work, sometimes when it didn't work. I just consistently stayed the course.
Yeah.
And so now, if people are wondering like where I hang my hat on building my real estate career, it's YouTube videos. That has been our number one source of leads for the past 7 years running. That's how I built my team.
Wow.
So find out what brings you energy. Find out what your superpower is. Go all in on it, and then put the blinders on and stay consistent.
That's good. That's good.
Gotcha.
I wanna say something. When you were talking about videos, and I remember when you were I think you were probably about a year, maybe about a year or two in, consistently doing videos, and you had got the drone. Do you remember that? You had got the drone, and you were all in on the drone. And I called you up one day. Do you remember that conversation?
I don't
I
know.
called you up, and I was like, Josh, I want to do the drone. I said,
What'd I
Josh,
say?
do you remember that conversation? Josh said, Chris, don't do the drone. That's not your passion. I used that drone one time.
Yeah,
It
man.
wasn't my passion.
Yeah.
It wasn't my passion. And Josh called it. I was like, don't do the drone. That's not your thing.
And Chris, I mean, man, I could spot your superpower a mile away. It's being a connector. Maurice and I know Austin Pryke, who is a connector.
Yes.
So, Chris, you and Austin need to chat it up because Austin is single-handedly building his career off of connecting people, and he loves it.
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. So now I want to touch on something really quick just to give some more context. So we talked about work-life balance, and you have a great work-life balance. I think you, and I don't remember this. I don't know if you remember this, but you told me the first time I met you, you would just take a week and go down to Hanna Park and just you would detach from anything, your phone. You're like, hey, if you need me, hit me back next week when I get back into the fold. You also take family vacations. I think you and your family every year go on a road trip to show the kids exactly what they're learning in homeschool in person. And I think that's very powerful, and it really shows how much time you've been able to build a business to where you can do that. I think you take like a month or so much time off, a few weeks off, to where you take a road trip with your entire family, and that's just that's unheard of for most agents. So for you to be able to do that, that's extremely powerful thing. That's a game changer. I mean, it allows agents to see that it's possible to have a work-life balance. Now, kind of the question I really have now is, kind of tell us a little bit more about your team. You've built this great mega team. What does that mega team look like, and where do you see that team going in the next year or two? Talk to us about this team. There you go.
There you go.
F3 home team.
F3 home team. F3 stands for faith, family, and freedom, because that's what we're about. That's why we do what we do.
Yes.
We're not selling homes because we love selling homes. We sell homes because it's a vehicle to achieve and amplify faith, family, and freedom.
Yes.
The team is 13 salespeople, and they're incredible, man. Like, that's so much. You know, most of them. Yeah. I mean, they're just such great, good-hearted, grounded people that will lift each other up and encourage one another and call one another out. So that's just the cultural alignment of what we're all about. And that's what has that leverage of building a team. I could make more money if I sold homes by myself. A lot of people think team leaders make a boatload of money. You make a lot of money selling homes regardless. But if I wanted to make more money, Josh Rogers would just go sell homes by Josh Rogers' self. You guys follow me on that?
Wait, back up. So Josh Rogers is not selling homes?
I just took a listing tonight, so I mean, I guess that counts. This is my second one for the year. It's my third one for the past 2 years.
Okay.
So I'll
break that down.
I don't mind taking one here and there just to keep my finger on the pulse.
Okay.
Okay.
But last year I did one deal. This year I've done one deal, and I'm about to do another one. But that's just to stay somewhat relevant. And in my farm area of Bartram Springs, this is 4 homes down. Like, literally I can do it in my sleep. So I enjoy it. It's kind of like, you know, you take Michael Jordan off the court and he's like, come on, let me just get in 1 3-pointer. So that's kind of what it's like.
I got it.
So the team allows for more leverage. So I'm not physically being required to run appointments, but the team also allows, man, it's more fun together. It allows us to pour into one another, to feed off of one another. Like, I like being around other people and doing things as a team versus myself. I'm not programmed to be a lone ranger or a cowboy for too long, because left to myself, it doesn't energize me. So Maurice, I have 2 full-time admin. Kelly is our operations manager, which largely runs all the inner workings, front facing and back office.
Mm-hmm.
We have a full-time listing manager. She's also our transaction coordinator. And we have 4 virtual assistants, our international partners in the Philippines. And those guys are rock stars. I mean,
Yeah.
they're the reason we're cranking out 900 pieces of content since the new year. That's just over the past three months.
Are these all videos or this is content in general?
All videos.
All
All
videos.
videos
Wow.
on multiple platforms.
Wow.
So Maurice, you asked, what's next with the team?
Mm-hmm.
What is next for Josh Rogers? It's helping our team members achieve their goals. So while I don't have a goal, I don't have a production goal or an income goal or a sales goal, I have 13 goals.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's coming alongside Austin and Henny and Val and Kelly, and helping them continue to stay focused with their goals, and then giving them strategies and support of how to achieve their goals. And man, that's just awesome. I mean, Kelly Cam locked arms with us 2 years ago. I met with her at Dunkin' Donuts. She had just came out of a year battling and beating breast cancer.
Yep.
She was up to $25,000 in debt. All her bills were in her kitchen cabinet, and she didn't open any of them because she was completely paralyzed and scared to death of all those medical bills after chemo. We met at Dunkin' Donuts, and I said, "Hey, let's do this. Like, what are your goals?" I just want to pay off my credit card debt and medical bills. So we rolled up her sleeves. She got to work and she killed it. Her first year in real estate, no experience before, she made $70,000.
Wow.
Going into the next year, pending, she already had $90,000 of pendings.
Jeez.
Wow.
And last year, I said, "What's your goal?" She's like, "I want to save up to buy a house. So I want to save up 75 grand cash to buy a house." Last year, she saved over $100,000 to buy a house.
Wow.
And it's like, man, that gets me so much more excited about hearing and seeing those goals than me doing more.
That's
Absolutely.
good.
Absolutely. Good. So making that bigger impact on, because I mean, I'll be honest with you, bro, you've made an impact on my career since I've came over, and so many others like Kelly Cam, like Austin, like Henny, like everybody you named, Stacy. So, I mean, Andrew, I mean, I could go on and on. You really made an impact on all of us, and to see us be successful, that's what a true leader does, man. Sure. And that really shows your character in and out, man. I mean, when you can, hey, hand me the ball, I got it. I'm Michael Jordan, but I'm handing the ball off to Scotty. Let's do it. Right, so, I mean, that really, really, really shows the character that you have, man, to where you can, hey, go out and sell 50, 60 homes, make as much money as you want to make. I'm here to support you. Go root you on, because I know we've talked a lot before. You say, "Hey, bro, whatever you need, I'm your cheerleader. Let me know what you need. I got you." So, I mean,
that's good.
Very, very happy to be locked on with you, man. Because
absolutely,
there's no way of telling what my business would look like without having that person to say, "Hey, this is what you do." Even when I thought that it wouldn't work at times, I was like, "Is it? This is all I gotta do?" He's like, "Yeah, just do this." And I'm like, "Are you sure?" "Yeah, just do it. You'll see what happens." So I did it. I'm like, "Oh, snap. It really works."
Maurice Murphy, the bearded realtor, came out of nowhere. Northeast Florida didn't even see him coming. And overnight, boom, there he is. Yeah. And that goes back, Maurice, to that advice and encouragement for new agents.
Absolutely.
Like, what is the biggest struggle and pitfall? They're not organized. They're not clear on their goals or what success means to them specifically.
Yes.
And then they're not controlling their schedule. There's so much freedom out here in real estate that we go days and days and days. We're busy, and yet we haven't done a lick of work.
Right.
So,
that's good.
That's the hard part.
Being busy or productive.
Yeah. Gotcha.
That's good. So, Josh, break it. Go ahead.
No,
I was going to say, break down how the brokerage, because you could have went anywhere. I know you were with a major company doing some amazing things. And I think at one point you may have entertained the thought of going out there and just doing your own brokerage. I think that was a goal at one particular point. break down the transition from your previous company, why you didn't do something, and to where you are now.
Cool.
Can you break that down?
I can do that. I started with a boutique brokerage. You guys know it, Roundtable. Keith and Howard, those guys are awesome. It's local, small boutique brokerage. Then I realized, man, I want to get serious about this. I want to build a big business. So I went to Keller Williams. Keller Williams, man, lights out with teaching people how to not just sell homes, but actually build a business. And that was a 3-year, very rewarding journey, and met a lot of amazing people. On the tail end of that, I grew to the #1 position of our market center, of our office. And I'm looking around and I'm saying, if birds of a feather flock together and I'm the big tuna, how am I growing? Who's pushing me? Like, what's next? And that was in a stage in my life when I was hungry and driven. And so I knew, like, I'm not going to camp out on top. Like, there's got to be more opportunity. And in that market center and with that brokerage, there just simply was no more opportunity. It was like, hey, do you want to be a MAPS coach? No, thanks. So I got my broker license and I still have it. And I was like, yeah, I could do my own thing, you know, jump out and really, really have the freedom and empowerment to do it all. But I realized that's not my strength. My strength is, and again, if we just keep it very simple, this is my strength, this is my skill set, and this is what brings me energy. Like Michael Jordan, and please forgive me for comparing myself to Michael Jordan. I mean,
you compared yourself to Michael Jordan about 5 times now.
Let's take a guy like in college, like a mediocre guy. That's me. No. But when you find your shot, that's your shot. Like, you don't start getting creative. Don't try to go over there and start doing physical therapy. Start being the GM and being the head coach and be on the field. That's what starting my own brokerage would be. It would take me out of my shot. And so I just actually, through a friend, he's like, just randomly, he kicked out this EXP brokerage, and I knew nothing of it. It was a nothing company, kind of like a joke. And it was a song and a prayer of like what they wanted to do. And I'm like, it was intriguing. And I love being a first mover, innovator. I love being a pioneer. There's risk with being a pioneer, but there's also a reward. I love walking to the beat of my own drummer. I love being in my own bubble and doing my own thing. And so EXP, when I saw it, I said, wait a second. This gives me a platform to do everything and more that I want to do on my own. And I don't have to be the physical therapist. I don't have to be the GM or the head coach. I can just still focus on my shot and yet reap the rewards of all of the other things associated with the entire organization. And so that was just flat out more opportunity to make more money and different streams in addition to just selling homes. Fellas, we're going to sell a lot of homes regardless of where we go.
Yes.
Selling homes is cool, but it doesn't stop there. Right. How else can we earn income and other streams of revenue while we're selling homes? And that's what got me fired up. And then I looked around at who was joining EXP. Guess what? Other champions, other huge hitters. I mean, there were companies closing their franchise doors and joining EXP. And I said, this is a place of growth, not only financially with my career, but also mindset. And the rest is history. Man, 6 years later, you know, the people Maurice and I have been introduced to and with, it's just the elite elevating the elite. And I look back and it was absolutely the right decision.
So how long have you been at EXP now?
It was 2017. Okay. So yeah, 6 years.
6 years now. 6 years.
Wow.
That's good.
And I must say, my co-host is going to be coming back.
Yeah.
You letting that cat out of the bag?
Not yet.
Right now, he's coming.
Dropping out there like that.
He's coming back home. Absolutely, it's going to be a beautiful thing.
Yeah, so I'm excited. I'm excited for the partnership.
Yeah. So with the platform of EXP, and a lot of misconceptions about the brokerage, and this is not really a full EXP app conversation, but the conversation seems to be evolving around recruiting. And I just read off your stat. You sold over $140 million in real estate. So what do you think has caused this misconception to make people think that you're just a recruiting? That's all you do, guys, do is recruit. You guys don't sell any properties for real.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, now all the 6 years ago,
Yes.
that's all it was.
Okay.
But now the data and the facts back up. EXP sells the most homes with the highest volume. You know, they're right there at the top.
Mhm.
But it's very simple. Compensation drives behavior.
Mm.
EXP has such a rewarding and beneficial compensation plan around recruiting
Right.
that any Billy Bob and JoJo wants to get out there and start chatting up other agents about, hey, you got to come to EXP, you got to come to EXP, because they're so mesmerized by the opportunity.
Yes.
Like there's a massive opportunity to get paid off of recruiting. Now,
Yes.
the bad part about that is anybody and their sister-in-law wants to get out there and start chatting it up when they have no idea what they're saying or how to do it in a tactful, professional, classy way.
Mm-hmm.
And
Sure.
so, yeah, man, why does EXP early on have this idea of a recruiting brokerage? Because it's so lucrative.
Right.
Dude, the amount of money you can make in that opportunity is massive. Therefore, everyone was talking about it.
Mm.
Sure.
But they
Got
were talking about it they were just dumb and excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
have dumb conversations. They say dumb things,
Dumb
and it
stuff.
kind of casts a shadow at that point. Whereas at the end of the day, man, only 5% of the agents are
Yeah.
professionally focused on that. The rest of us, including myself, dude, we're just selling a ridiculous amount of homes.
Yes.
And other avenues of EXP are rewarding us far greater than the recruiting mode.
Two things, and I don't want if you can answer these two. So, can you break down the difference between rev share and team? Because you talked about both of those, so we can talk about that. And then on the back end of that, can you talk about there's other companies out there with a quote unquote recruiting platform? Why do you think EXP get hit with the negative as opposed to those other companies who also have a
Because
recruiting
everybody does it. It's
Yeah.
not it's no secret. Everybody does it. It's just like we are like the stepchild the black sheep. I don't know. Go ahead. I'll let you explain.
Talk about it.
Well, welcome to being a pioneer. You know, pioneers get shot with arrows.
Mm.
And so welcome to being first. You know, EXP is the first. And guess what, man? Amazon was the first. And Amazon got such a strong head start. Do you think there were other companies that copied Amazon's model or tried to?
Right, sure.
Can you name any of them?
No. No.
So EXP, dude, and when you're first, and a lot of people are talking about it and bragging about it and stuff, you know, you're just asking for the critics to come out. So
Yeah,
I think it was probably a self-fulfilling prophecy, because we were all so loud and proud about it anyway, showing, you know, pictures of the stock climbing, showing rev share checks. So like, we're just asking for it. But if you're going to be vocal and public about anything, you're going to have the critics.
You gotta have to.
And then also, I mean, with the incredible success now, dude, like if competition can't beat their competition, then it's easier to just throw stones.
Yeah.
Sure.
But Chris, you asked about team. So there's the F3 sales team. We sell homes. I support them. They're part of our Josh Rogers sales team, that we give them leads, we give them marketing, we give them support, transactional support, and they give up a percentage of the commission on the sales team.
Got it.
Then there's EXP revenue share, and that's essentially us sharing EXP with other agents, single agents, team agents, brokerages, anybody. It's not associated with the Josh Rogers sales team at all. And it just says, hey, EXP is such an incredible framework, a platform you can plug into and build your real estate career on. Why don't you check it out? And so essentially, rev share is just whoever has shared EXP with another agent.
Gotcha. So
Not actually on your team, but just through the company. You introduce them to the company.
yeah,
There you go. Perfect.
Yeah.
I'm a product of that introduction.
I got it. I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Maurice is part of my EXP RevShare group.
Gotcha.
Chris, you would be too. And I love this because this is gunslingers coming along gunslingers, right? Gunslingers are out in the wild, wild west on their own. But when they have an aligned goal, they come together. And man, that's when, big things happen.
That's good.
Gotcha.
So Chris, you want to build a team? Man, I'm here to help you build a team. Maurice, you want to build and develop a YouTube empire? I'm here to help you build that. Whatever you guys want to focus on, I come along as a fellow gunslinger and just add fuel to your fire.
That's good.
Gotcha.
That's good.
Gotcha.
That's good. I like it.
So I want to ask one more question. I know we coming up on the hour time spot. I wanted to kind of touch on this, and I've heard it a lot. So what does the exit strategy look like for Josh Rogers? Like, what does exit strategy look like for you as far as you've built this great business? You have these, and I shout out to all the agents. I know pretty much all of them, unless you surprised me with somebody new and I didn't know. Great people on your team that we all love and support. But for those listening, what does the exit strategy look like for Josh Rogers, Sarah, beautiful wife? What does that strategy look like for you? And how are you making that happen?
Yeah,
that's a great question.
It is a great question, man. I'll be honest with you. I don't have an exit strategy because it's not something I want to exit. Like that hasn't crossed my mind of how can I stop doing this?
Having too much fun.
There's the highs, there's the lows.
Yeah.
It's just rewarding and it's fulfilling. So it's not something I want to exit anytime soon. I mean, when you're getting to pour into people, help them along their goals, like truly pour into people, not just selling homes, but beyond. Yeah. And then with the cash that we're making, being able to stroke big checks to missionaries and charities and churches and really just help a lot of people. I mean, man, I'm being wise with my money. There are strategies and passive strategies and investing strategies, but for my foreseeable future, I don't think it gets any better than this. What am I going to do? Not work?
Sure. Do you think, here's I want to piggyback on that. Do you think that if you were at a traditional brokerage, that this quality of life will be different for you?
It's the people we surround ourselves with. Absolutely. So Matt Plummer, Clayton Gitz, that Chris will get you into his mastermind and to the event. John Tiller, the other 3-4 guys we run together. Wherever those guys go, I go.
That's powerful.
So I don't care the flag that we fly. It's the people. And so when we're at these events, man, we're not out partying. We're not getting tanked. No. We're waking up in the morning and we're having a men's devotional outside by the pool.
Yes.
So it's not just financial alignment, but it's like, what are we about? Our spiritual health, our marriage health, being parents, being physically conscious and healthy. So Chris, dude, EXP is just a fantastic platform. Like I don't see how it just makes too much sense. But if these guys were to say, "Hey, Josh, this is what we're doing," I'll be like, "Sign me up."
Let's roll. Because I asked, and that kind of piggyback, and we'll let you go too. So most agents don't have that. They're just going to work and work and work because they don't have what are they going to do afterwards?
Well, good point. And so that does come us with that alignment that EXP does foster. Right. And other brokerages, largely speaking, I know there's exceptions, but everybody just has their heads down and they're doing their own thing. Right. I think that's fair. You guys have been other places.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've been other places. Yes.
So EXP does have that alignment of open book everyone towing the rope, pouring into one another. So to answer your question, unless I just got lucky and stumbled into another inner circle, and that doesn't happen, there's no way I would be in the quality of life or the position of my career if I was just out with just another random brokerage.
Wow.
Mm.
Yeah. That's
Wow.
powerful.
Wow.
Any parting words? Somebody's listening.
Yeah,
I got two things. We dropped Josh Rogers off in, I don't know, some foreign country that no one has ever heard of, and he wants to do real estate. what? There it is. There it is.
I would do that. I would do open houses, as many as I could get my hands on.
Yeah.
Open houses is a numbers game.
Yep.
And then I would connect with the hyper local, most influential small business owners. So like the local flooring guy, local roofer, local painter, local landscaper. And I would really collaborate, connect, pour into them, because that group of small businesses around home maintenance has the earliest finger on the pulse of if sellers are thinking about selling.
There you go. There you go.
So I would do those three things. I would create content, I'd do a ton of open houses, and I would network with the local small businesses.
There it is. There it is.
There it is, man.
So you asked any final thoughts. I did just allude to, I wish I would have found Jesus earlier and sooner. But man, that is everything. And it's the only thing for me is just surrendering and living in his grace and his peace, just with the overabundance of his mercy, through his son, Jesus. I lived a life of searching to fill that void of thirst, to fill that hunger. And I tried to fill that hunger and thirst with all the things. And I always ended up emptier than when I started. And it wasn't until I opened the Bible, surround myself with other like-minded men, and just really start seeking him, that he's my fulfillment, regardless of if business is great or if business is tough. Man, it doesn't get any better. And once you taste that, you don't want any other substitutes. So that's my encouragement. If someone is feeling like they're seeking, searching, and they're just not feeling that satisfaction, and turn to the Lord.
That's good. That's good.
It's good, man. It's powerful.
Josh?
Powerful. Absolutely, man.
We appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Getting on the line with us, man, and sharing your wisdom. I can definitely see why you are. I think it was correction. I think Maurice, you said it was number 17, listed number 17 or something like that.
Yeah.
Maurice said top 3 in Northeast Florida. We're number 1. That was old data, but for last year, man, I'd put all the money on it that we're number 1 in our category, and we're so grateful for it.
Wow. Say it with your chest, Josh. Say it with your chest.
Yeah, man. So it's been really good to have you on the show, man.
Yeah.
Breaking in the show, first episode, dropped a lot of jewels.
Maurice, I want to just mention this last thing, man. I'm sorry to drag this out, but we did talk about important stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of times real estate agents want to know like the strategy. Tell me the strategy. Tell me the strategy. Here's the thing. People aren't failing because lack of information. There's an overabundance of information. That's not the missing link.
Sure.
The missing link is what's happening right now. It's the alignment. It's the mastermind. It's the high level conversations.
Yes.
It's surrounding yourselves with people pushing you, and then having real conversations. And that's not strategy. Like, strategy is a thing and it will come. But let's talk about our time with the Lord. Let's talk about our health. Let's talk about the meaningful things, because all that overflows to our business.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so while someone may not have gotten strategy from this call, dude, there's plenty of time for strategy. Like we really talk about what makes a full life. And so anyway, I hope this has encouraged people as they're listening.
Absolutely. And just a little shameless plug. They don't want to do strategy. I mean, you do bi-weekly Iron
Yeah.
Sharpest Irons, where any agent can come out and get strategies on how to build a successful business. Where it's not taught just by you, other top producers in the business come out and teach. So if they want strategy, E-Town tomorrow.
Yeah. I was gonna say, is there a
11 o'clock.
website that they can go to find out the schedule of that, or how do they find out more about that?
Yeah.
I'd say hit up you and Maurice.
Yep.
And we can easily throw together a website. But it's tomorrow at 11 o'clock, and it's every other Wednesday.
Absolutely.
There you go.
All the strategies are right there. Absolutely. But I think it all boils down to what you say at the beginning. Let's roll those sleeves up and get to work.
Work, baby.
Let's get to work.
And you know what? You'll feel good after a good, hard day at work.
Oh, my goodness. Yes, you do. Absolutely.
But Josh, we're going to have to get you back on the show, man, because I know there was more jewels, more nuggets that we could have dropped.
Yes.
So we said we was going to try to keep it to an hour. So we might have to do a part 2 and then a part 3.
Yeah.
And then maybe even a part 4. So good stuff, man.
And I'm so proud of you guys to see your journeys and to see your growth, and then also to have a glimpse of what's in your future. I am so excited for the two of you, and I'm your biggest fan. So you guys, let me just fan your flame. You got massive things, and anyone that's looking to come into relationship with the two of you, they'd be crazy not to. You know, some of the best decisions is whenever you take that ego, put it on the shelf, and come under that influence of coaches and mentors like the two of you guys. And man, like, it's amazing what can happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man.
Well, thank you guys.
Absolutely. Thank you again, man.
All right. Till next time, guys. We'll see you guys next Tuesday?
Next
Tuesday. 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
Yeah, we got a good lineup for you guys. So stay tuned. We got more real talk and real estate.
Absolutely.